AI fatigue, there is no such thing at XChange August 2026. I'm Jen Follett, this is Steve Burke. We're here with CRN In Depth, digging into all the AI news that came out of XChange this week. And to be honest, we're really going to focus here on what we heard from solution provider partners. Right off the bat, this event, we came into it knowing that AI started to progress. It's not so much about is it happening, how is it happening? It's really about monetization now for the channel. What did you hear from partners on that front?
Well, the great thing about XChange is you get the best and brightest partners. And to me, the big takeaway is partners are really accelerating in terms of monetizing AI. You know, one of the channel MSP superstars, General Informatics CEO Don Monaster talked about his company, which really started generating AI revenue about 2.5 years ago. And this year, his largest professional services engagement is an AI project. So they're generating AI recurring revenue and project-based income. And key to that success, and you've talked about this time and time again, is using AI internally before it's rolled out to customers. Another really incredible MSP, Steven Burke, CEO of Nativa, a $200 million partner, said his company is crafting AI business outcome solutions and is having huge success. One of the things they did, for example, is developed an AI automation that reduced double data entries for a manufacturer that freed up a full-time resource, but also improved the quality of their sales leads. So they were driving better, increased sales and closing those leads faster. That project helped save the company $126,000 salary for a resource and helped drive the sales pipeline up by about 15%. So just a really powerful story about how they're doing it. And the other thing Nativa did was they scaled that to much larger manufacturers. So it's use and reuse and repeat, and they're having huge success monetizing AI.
I know Don talked about it, and several other partners did too, about how they've developed their own AI agents that are out in the world doing business on their behalf. What did you hear there that was new?
Oh, that was a mind blower because, again, how innovative these guys are. That's what's great about being in the trenches here at XChange with the MSPs. Corey Kirkendall, president of 5K Technical Services, talked about creating an agent named Cynthia that's essentially a customer service agent that's uncovered tons of opportunities for them. You know, and they've also built an AI agent to help nonprofits do a better job of grant writing and going after more private funds in wake of federal budget cuts. Right. So what an innovative thing. I mean, they're hopping right into the customers' business problems and solving them with AI agents.
I loved his piece too, where he said not only looking at those federal grants, but now like turning it a bit and saying like, these are all your skill sets, customer. What are the private sector grants you can go after too? That was really cool.
It was really cool. Joe Ucia, CEO of Infinite IT Solutions, talked about also building an AI voice agent for a law firm that proactively checked in on customer appointments, and then they used that in their own business to do cold calling and again increase their sales. So it's just interesting to see the synergies between the internal and external. And as you talked about, eating your own, drinking your own champagne and really doing the AI so it's proven and tested and not, they're not just pulling a rabbit out of their hat.
Yeah, Joe's piece where he did that, talked about the cold calling agent was also interesting, where he said, that on first blush you'd think, oh, okay, so you're getting rid of salespeople then. No, like that agent was bringing in so many leads that he had to hire people to deal with them.
Yeah, it's amazing. You mentioned too, one of the downsides here is you've got to be willing to take a risk. And Steven Burke from Nativa talked about that. And they had a project where they were trying to go in and replicate what a customer's really savvy employees that have been there for many years were doing to drive up margins, really almost predictive analytics through these really smart people that have been at the company for many years. The CEO asked Nativa to see if they could put this into an AI app. And of course the difficulty was kind of getting it out of the, a lot of it was gut and kind of instinct. So the difficulty was like having these employees be able to kind of document what they were doing. And so they really couldn't pull that together. So, they lost a ton of money on the project. But again, you've got to be willing to go in and be willing to fail to succeed.
Right. I mean, you'd mentioned taking a risk. We did some of our own research. I actually got on stage and asked the audience, how many of you in the past couple days have found a vendor here that you want to learn more about? And almost everybody raised their hand. So people are out there looking for new things, taking risks, and bringing on new vendors, new technologies. What was the vibe you felt around that, Steve?
Well, the one that is so powerful because this AI market is moving so fast that you've got to reinvent yourselves and really keep your eyes open for what's out there. So one of the great things about Exchange is new vendors, and you mentioned that number. And I just want to make sure people understand this number that you highlighted in that research, which was CRN fast growth, SP 500 fast growth data shows that 85% of the top SP 500 companies added a technology or a vendor in 2025. So that is really one of the keys to success, is really going out there and having your eyes open and be willing to embrace these startups that are really transforming the business, that are designed from the ground up for the AI market. And one of the ones that really caught my eye here, the CEO was here, Pinar Ormechi from Lexful, which is an AI documentation company. And as she talked about, every major technology shift requires a new operational foundation. So what these guys have done is they're powering dramatic gains with specific client knowledge, including faster response on tickets and 90% fewer escalations for bad documents by really going in and providing documentation it's really aimed at driving a foundation of good data for these partners to make these to drive their business forward. So to me it was powerful because it's an area where MSPs have spent a lot of time doing documentation to try and solve problems, those tickets and triaging. But this is a really groundbreaking product in my mind.
Yeah. No, I love that there's so many stories like that where AI is really opening these kinds of opportunities in areas that you wouldn't have thought of maybe as revenue driving or revenue opportunities, and now they are. Steve, thanks for being with me here on CRN In Depth. You can find all of this coverage and more on crn.com and in our CRN Exchange newsroom.